Alrighty, we're out here today with the 1990 Chevy K1500, and we're going to be talking about rusted cab mount bushings. One good way to tell if your bushings have gone bad or if they've rusted through the frame is to take a look at where your cab and your bed meet. So worst case scenario, if the back of the cab bushings have collapsed all the way through the frame, you'll notice that your truck is sagging in the middle. It almost looks like your frame is cracked in half or is in the process of breaking. It'll have kind of a U shape there in the middle. These body lines will be all sorts of messed up. Walking around here to the other side, I'm gonna let y'all see what the bushings look like that came off of the truck. Got them back here. So as you can see, just completely disintegrated. These taller bushings go in the back of the cab. Thinner ones go in the front of the cab. For this job, I didn't even touch the radiator support bushings, the ones all the way up at the front of the truck under the bumper. To me, this truck is a rust bucket, so I more or less just wanted to feel a little bit more secure while driving the vehicle. If I get into an accident, I didn't want the cab detaching from the frame of the truck. So yeah, you can see some of these bolts. A lot of people snap these bolts when they're trying to take them out. I was fortunate to be able to get all four out without snapping them. As you can see there, that's where it would have failed if it had. Best method for these: heat them up red hot with a torch, leave them sit for a few minutes. So heat them up red hot with a torch, tap it with a hammer, leave it sit for a few minutes. What I did is I went in through the cab and I heated this end of the bolt up as well. And I sprayed my penetrating fluid on the top of the bolt there, so it went down the threads. Tap it some more. I heated it up about twice, and these were able to come right out without breaking. For me, I noticed the bolts that were in the rear of the cab were in a lot worse condition than the ones up at the front of the cab. They weren't nearly as bad. I think originally OEM, these were rubber bushings, and I bought a kit off Summit. This is here, 88 to 98 truck standard cab mount 16-piece set. So that came with 4 bushings, the 2 back of the cab bushings, the 2 front of the cab bushings under the floor pans. It did not come with the 2 radiator bushings all the way at the front bumper. All right, so let's talk solutions for bushings that have collapsed through the frame. So coming off the frame, you have a little eyelet of metal that the bushing rides in, and it's got a hole in the middle. And over time, with rust, it will collapse down through there. And you have a couple options. You can weld metal plate on. You can replace the entire hanger here that comes off the frame. Or you can do what I did. So I went on Amazon, I bought these stainless steel washers. And what I've done is they're 2-inch washers, internal diameter, which is the size of the bottom of this bushing. So the bushing is going through one washer, it's going through the frame, and then it's going through a washer on the bottom. And then we have the bottom part of the bushing, the plate that goes in the bottom of the bushing, and then the bolt. So what I've seen a lot of people do is I've seen a lot of people put a washer here on top, and that's it. And that does not secure your cab to the body of the truck. If you just have a washer here, there's a good chance that upward momentum, the bushing could still pull up out. So it's important to capture it on both sides with the washer and then torque it in so it's pinching against whatever metal you have left on that frame. So on both sides of the rear, I had to do 2 washers. The bottom washer had to be notched a little bit with a grinder just to get it to be flush. If you don't do that, you'll have a little bit of a gap. I did not weld either of these. They're just bolted on there, no welding. All right, moving on to the front. So on both sides of my front, the bushing itself had not collapsed through the frame. So I still have good metal on this frame piece here in the front. So I was able to just replace the bushing without adding any washers. You may come across that these are still intact, or it may be like the rear ones that I have where you have to do washers. You'll probably have to notch the bottom washer for this front one a bit more because that frame has a lip around it. This is a pretty simple fix. Relatively doesn't take a lot of time. It's just you gotta be real careful not to snap any of these bolts as you take them out. So use lots of heat, tap it with a hammer, and try and gain access from the top of it through the floor pans to try and get some penetrating fluid onto those.